You know that feeling when you're just standing at the sink, maybe washing dishes, and suddenly you feel this heavy, warm pressure against your leg?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. That dog lean. It's so fascinating how they seek that specific contact. It's like they're choosing you to be their physical anchor in that moment.
Right. And it's never an accident. It's this very deliberate transfer of their weight onto you, almost like they're letting go of their own gravity to rely on yours.
It really is like a silent hug, isn't it? And while it feels so simple and sweet on the surface, there's actually something much deeper happening biologically. It's a complex signal rooted right in their ancestry.
You know that feeling when your dog just leans their whole weight against your legs? It's such a distinct, grounded moment of connection, but it actually goes back much further than most people realize.
That's exactly it. To really understand the lean, you have to go back to the very beginning. When puppies are first born, they're navigating a world where they can't see or hear anything yet. They're essentially blind and deaf.
Right. But their sense of touch, that is fully developed and incredibly acute from their very first breath. It's their primary way of understanding reality through thermal and tactile feedback.
It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. For a puppy, touch is literally survival. So when your adult dog leans into you, they're accessing that primal neural pathway. They aren't just being sweet, they're verifying their safety through the most reliable sense they've ever had.
It's a beautiful thought, really. That lean is a form of communication that predates their ability to even see your face or hear your voice. It's their way of saying, I'm safe here. You know, there's something so grounding about when a dog just leans their full weight against your legs. It actually goes back to what scientists call the evolutionary huddle.
That's exactly it. In the wild, canines sleep in these tight piles, spine to spine, to protect their vitals and share heat. But it's also about security. If one member of the pack tenses up at a threat, that vibration travels through the whole group instantly.
It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. When your dog leans on you, they're essentially inviting you into that ancient huddle.
Right. They're connecting their nervous system to yours to create a unified circuit of awareness. It's a beautiful way of saying they finally feel safe enough to relax their vigilance.
You know, it's really interesting when you look at why our dogs lean on us. It's a biological concept called neoteny. Basically, they stay puppies at heart their whole lives because we take such good care of them.
Right, exactly. In the wild, a wolf eventually grows up and stops needing that constant physical reassurance from its parents. But our dogs never really have to leave the nest emotionally. To them, we're the permanent parental figure.
That's exactly it. So when even a massive mastiff leans his full weight against your hip, he's actually performing the adult version of a puppy burrowing into its mother. It's a physical manifestation of that deep bond.
It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. It's really a beautiful, quiet way of them saying, I rely on you. Even as big dogs, they're still just looking to us for that ultimate sense of safety and well-being.
You know that feeling when you're at a crowded, unfamiliar party and you instinctively reach out to touch your partner's arm just to ground yourself?
That's exactly it. It's so fascinating how dogs seek that same contact. They're essentially using us as a social anchor when the world feels a bit too chaotic, whether that's a busy street or a stressful trip to the vet.
Right. In those moments, you basically become the one stable pole in their spinning world. By pressing their weight against you, they're physically grounding themselves to filter out all that overwhelming sensory data.
It's such a powerful coping mechanism. They're literally transforming their anxiety into stability through simple friction and weight. It's their way of finding safety in the fact that you are right there, solid and immovable.
You know, we often talk about a dog's incredible sense of smell and hearing as a superpower, but the reality is that it can be deeply exhausting. They're essentially living through a constant barrage of data that we can't even perceive.
That's so true. It's total sensory fatigue. And that's why the lean is so fascinating. It's actually a way for them to turn the volume down on the world.
Exactly. When a dog leans into you and closes their eyes, they're intentionally dampening that outside noise. They're trading all those overwhelming smells and sounds for the simple, grounded sensation of your physical presence.
Right. It's almost like how we might take a deep breath to center ourselves. That pressure provides deep proprioceptive input, kind of like a weighted blanket, which helps organize a scattered nervous system back into a state of calm.
You know, we really can't talk about the lean without looking at the chemistry happening under the surface. It's so fascinating how they instinctively seek out that physical contact.
Right. And it's actually quite profound. When a dog leans into you, both of your brains start releasing oxytocin, that love hormone we see in the bond between a mother and her infant. It's a literal chemical connection.
That's exactly it. And while that oxytocin is rising, their cortisol, the stress hormone, is actually dropping. They're essentially using your presence to shift their entire nervous system from a state of alertness to one of deep relaxation.
It's like they're self-medicating in a way, and it creates this beautiful feedback loop. The more they lean, the safer they feel, which then makes them want to lean even more. It's just a very steady, grounded way of saying they trust you.
Have you ever been just standing there and your dog comes over and leans their full weight against your leg? It's such a quiet, steady moment, but there's actually something really profound happening there.
It's so true. You have to remember that in the animal world, your back is your most vulnerable spot. It's the ultimate blind spot. So when a dog leans against you, especially facing away, they're basically doing a canine trust fall.
Right. They're relinquishing that instinct to guard their own rear because they're completely confident that you have it covered. It's like they're saying, I'm safe here.
That's exactly it. It's the ultimate compliment, really. They're choosing to watch the world from the safety of your shadow, knowing their most vulnerable side is protected by your body. It's a beautiful way of showing they truly trust you.
You know, when a dog leans their full weight against your legs, it's such a quiet, grounded moment, but it's actually a very intentional way of saying, you're mine.
That's exactly it. We usually think of territory as just physical space, but for a dog, it's all about scent. By leaning, they're using the glands in their skin to create this communal signature, merging their scent with yours.
It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. And it isn't about dominance or being pushy. It's a warm, polite way of tagging you as a member of the pack.
Right. It's like you're walking around with an invisible perfume that tells every other dog you meet that you're already spoken for. It's really just about belonging.
You know, we really need to clear up that old idea that when a dog leans against your legs, they're trying to claim you or assert some kind of dominance.
That's exactly it. Modern science has really moved past that old rank theory. In a healthy relationship, unless you're seeing growling or stiff posturing, it's almost never a power play.
Right. It's what experts call social cohesion. Think of the difference between a bully giving you a shove and a loved one just reaching out to hold your arm.
It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. It's not them saying, I own you, like property. It's more like a quiet promise. They're saying, you're mine, and I'm yours. It's a declaration that you're both in this tiny, exclusive club together.
You know, we often think of the dog lean as them asking us for something, but it's actually the other way around more often than we realize.
Right. It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. They're picking up on things we aren't even aware of. Micro-expressions, changes in our pheromones. They basically sense our stress before we've even processed it ourselves.
That's exactly it. It's this beautiful emotional contagion. If you're feeling anxious or just weary, they sense that shift, and their first instinct is to just close the physical gap.
It really is an act of service, isn't it? In those moments, they're essentially acting as a living, breathing, weighted blanket. They're lending you their own warmth and stability just to help you feel grounded again.
You know, there's something so grounding about when a dog just leans their full weight against your legs. It's not an accident. It's actually what psychologists call a co-regulation loop.
That's exactly it. It's like a biological conversation happening without a single word. When you're stressed, your dog senses it and leans in to offer that physical comfort.
And as you feel their warmth and weight, your own heart rate starts to slow down.
Right. And then the dog picks up on that drop in your heart rate and relaxes even further, leaning in even heavier. It's this silent negotiation of energy that helps both of you return to a baseline of calm.
It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. For people dealing with anxiety or PTSD, the dog is essentially acting as a living biofeedback machine, grounding them in the present moment.
Exactly. It really becomes a shared meditation. That physical pressure serves to sync the breathing and heart rates of two different species, just finding that peace together. You know, we often talk about the lean as the ultimate sign of love, but there's this really important nuance where it shifts from affection into protection. It's all about the physical feedback they're giving you.
It really is. And the key is checking that muscle tone. When a dog is just looking for comfort, they feel almost like dead weight. They're just melting into you, totally soft and passive.
Right, it's that relaxed, I'm safe here feeling. But if they're guarding, that sensation changes completely. You'll feel a certain rigidity. Their muscles get tense because they're actually using you as a shield while they scan the room for threats.
That's exactly it. One is an invitation to relax together, while the other is purposeful and alert. Just learning to feel that difference in their tension tells you so much about what they're actually feeling in that moment.
You know, we've all been there. You're out for a walk, a stranger approaches, and suddenly your dog is pressing firmly against your leg, eyes locked on the newcomer. It's what we call the stiff lean.
Right. And it's actually a really sophisticated tactical move. By pressing into you, they're making sure they know exactly where you are without having to take their eyes off the potential threat. It's their way of saying, I'm right here and I'm on duty.
That's exactly it. It's a signal of a united front. It's a deterrent to the stranger. But for you, it's meant to be reassuring, like your own personal sentry letting you know they've got your back.
It's so fascinating how they seek that physical contact. Even though it's a protective instinct, it's all rooted in that deep bond of trust. They're showing you, quite literally, that you're the person worth guarding.
You know that moment where your dog just sinks into you? We call it the soft lean, and it's honestly one of the most beautiful behaviors to witness.
It really is. It's that deep sigh, right? That moment in the living room where they just collapse their weight against your legs. There's no vigilance there. It's total surrender.
That's exactly it. They're basically telling you, I'm off the clock. They've let go so completely that if you actually stepped away, they'd probably just tip right over.
It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. It really is the highest compliment they can pay you. Just that pure physical gift of being completely vulnerable because they feel so safe in your hands.
You know, it's really interesting how this leaning behavior shows up differently depending on the size of the dog, even though the heart of it is the same. You see those giant breeds, the Great Danes and Mastiffs, and they're just the classic leaners, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're at that perfect height where they just fit right against your hip. For a dog that big, it's almost like a physical handshake, but it's just as meaningful for the little guys too.
That's exactly it. A tiny Chihuahua might just sit on your feet or press against your shin, but it's the same impulse. For them, being right there on the bridge of your foot is the safest place in the world.
Right. It's so fascinating how they seek that contact. Regardless of the breed, they're really just trying to maximize that surface area. It's their way of physically anchoring themselves to you for security and bonding. It's really quite lovely.
You know, we often talk about the dog lean as this universal sign of affection, but to really decode it, you have to look at the context of the moment.
That's exactly it. It's all about the environment. If there's a thunderstorm rolling in and they press against your legs, they're essentially using you as a bunker. They're looking for that physical sense of safety.
Right. But then compare that to the lean you get when you walk through the door after a long trip. That's a reunion celebration. They're scent marking you and just grounding themselves in your presence.
It's so fascinating how they seek that contact for different reasons. Even in the kitchen, a lean might just be a gentle, subtle reminder that they're there, and maybe a little hungry.
Definitely. But my favorite is the couch lean. when you're just watching TV together and they settle in. That's pure companionship.
It really is. And I think the key is just watching their body language. If they're trembling, they need your reassurance. If they're panting happily, they're just soaking in the moment. Being that attuned to them, it just makes you a much more responsive partner to your dog.
So, when our dogs do that classic lean against our legs, how should we actually respond? It's tempting to make a big deal out of it, but the most helpful thing we can do is just acknowledge it calmly.
Exactly. You don't need to make a big fuss. It's so fascinating how they seek that contact, and often just a gentle hand on their side or leaning back slightly to provide a little counterpressure is enough. It's a way of saying, I feel you and I've got you.
Right. And if they're leaning because they're feeling a bit anxious, we have to be mindful of our touch. Those long, slow strokes are much better than rapid patting, which can actually increase their excitement or stress.
That's such a good point. By returning that contact steadily, you're essentially completing the circuit. You're validating their communication and turning a simple request for security into this really beautiful two-way exchange of affection. It just reinforces that bond.
You know, we often see a dog lean against their owner and think, oh, that's just a funny little quirk. But when you look at the behavior, it's actually a really profound conversation they're having with us.
That's exactly it. It's their way of grounding themselves through our presence. When they press their full weight into you, they're essentially saying you're their safe harbor.
Right. It's almost like a silent thank you delivered through the simple physics of pressure. In a world that can be so loud and confusing for them, you've become the steady post they choose to lean on.
It really is a privilege, isn't it? To realize that those quiet moments of contact are actually a deep testament to the safety and love you've provided.
So, as we wrap up our look at the lean, I'd love for everyone to really pay attention the next time it happens. Just take a second to feel that physical weight and the warmth coming off them.
It's so true. When they do that, it isn't just a random nudge. It's actually one of the most honest expressions of love you'll find. They're essentially casting their lot with you, both physically and emotionally.
That's exactly it. It's pure trust. And we really hope this helps you cherish those heavy, warm moments just a little bit more when they happen.
Right. And we'd honestly love to hear about your own experiences. Does your dog have a favorite side they lean on, or maybe a specific time of day when they crave that contact? Let us know in the comments.